In the harsh summer of 1884, a desperate woman rode across the lonely Texas frontier with nowhere left to turn. Her family ranch was about to be taken, a ruthless landowner was hunting her, and her only chance for survival was a quiet cowboy named Samuel Hayes. Then she made him an unexpected offer. "I'm only marrying you to save your life." But Samuel simply smiled and said nothing. What Clara didn't know was that Samuel already understood the danger, and he had a secret plan of his own. Will this marriage save them, or put both their lives in greater danger? Before we begin, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more unforgettable Old West stories. Now let's get started. The summer of 1884 had brought a merciless heat to the plains of Texas. The earth was dry, the creek beds were nearly empty, and every afternoon the wind carried clouds of dust across the lonely trails. Near the small frontier town of Red Creek, a young woman named Clara Whitmore rode alone toward a weathered ranch house. She wore a faded blue dress beneath a brown traveling coat. Her face was tired, and fear lingered in her eyes. Behind her, tied to the saddle, was the last small trunk belonging to her family. Clara had lost her father 3 months earlier. His death had left the Whitmore ranch buried beneath debt. Worse still, the money was owed to Silas Boone, the richest and most ruthless landowner in the county. Boone had offered Clara a cruel choice: pay the debt within 30 days or surrender the ranch. But Clara soon discovered that Boone wanted more than her land. He wanted her to become his wife. She had refused him twice. Now Boone had threatened to take the ranch by force. With nowhere else to turn, Clara had come to the one man Boone feared: Samuel Hayes. Samuel owned a modest cattle ranch several miles outside Red Creek. He was a quiet cowboy in his early 30s, known for his honesty, steady hand, and unwillingness to bow before wealthy men. Clara stopped her horse beside his porch and climbed down. Samuel was repairing a broken saddle when he looked up. "You're a long way from town, Miss Whitmore." Clara swallowed hard. "I need your help." Samuel set the saddle aside. "With what?" She hesitated before forcing the words from her lips. "I need you to marry me." For the first time, Samuel looked genuinely surprised. Clara quickly continued. "Not because I love you, not because I expect anything from you. I'm only marrying you to save your life." Samuel frowned. "My life?" Clara nodded. "Boone told me that if I refuse him, he will destroy my ranch, and once he owns my land, he will come after yours. Your property borders mine. He wants the entire valley." Samuel remained silent. Clara expected anger, laughter, perhaps even rejection. Instead, he simply studied her frightened face. Then, to her surprise, Samuel gave a faint smile. He said nothing. He walked to the front door, opened it, and stepped aside. "Come inside," he said quietly. Clara followed him. But neither of them noticed the rider watching from the distant ridge. The rider wore a black hat, and he was carrying a rifle. The next morning, Clara awoke to the sound of horses outside the ranch house. For a moment, she forgot where she was. Then she remembered Samuel's quiet words from the night before. She stepped onto the porch and found him saddling his horse. "Where are you going?" she asked. Samuel tightened the saddle strap. "To Red Creek." Clara's heart sank. "Is Boone coming?" Samuel looked toward the distant hills. "He is coming for your ranch." Clara lowered her voice. "You do not understand. If he learns we are married, he may come after you." Samuel finally looked at her. "That is exactly what I am counting on." Clara stared at him. Samuel explained that he had spent the night speaking with several ranchers who had suffered under Boone's threats. He had also discovered something important. Boone was not interested in the Whitmore ranch merely because of its size. A surveyor had recently discovered signs of gold beneath the northern valley. If Boone controlled Clara's land and Samuel's neighboring property, he could claim the entire valley and make a fortune. Before Clara could answer, the sound of approaching horses echoed across the prairie. 5 riders appeared through the morning dust. Silas Boone rode at the front. He stopped outside the ranch and smiled coldly. "Clara," he called, "you have made a foolish mistake." Clara stepped beside Samuel. "I am not going anywhere with you." Boone laughed. "You think marrying a poor cowboy will protect you?" Samuel remained strangely calm. You brought too many men for a simple conversation, Silas. Boone reached for his pistol. At that moment, a second group of riders appeared from behind the ranch. It was the sheriff and 3 deputies. Samuel had sent word to them before dawn. The sheriff held up a collection of papers, signed statements from several ranchers proving Boone had threatened them and attempted to seize their land illegally. Boone's smile disappeared. "You planned this?" Samuel nodded. "I plan to make sure you never frighten Clara again." The sheriff arrested Boone and his men. Weeks passed, and peace finally returned to the valley. Clara repaired the Whitmore ranch with Samuel's help. Their marriage, which had begun as a desperate bargain, slowly became something neither had expected. One evening, Clara stood beside Samuel beneath the orange Texas sunset. "I told you I was only marrying you to save your life," she whispered. Samuel smiled. "And you did." Clara looked into his eyes. "But somewhere along the way," she said softly, "you saved mine too." Samuel took her hand. This time he said nothing. He did not need to. Their future had already begun.